Hello guys, Art-Teeves here. This video is the second part of the playlist that covers the process of UV unwrapping this stylized lionfish boat. The workflow you see won't work for some models that are more realistic than this boat. The explanation for this is rather simple. I've left some stretched UVs and never peeled some objects properly, because it won't be really noticeable on this particular model. The whole boat is unwrapped to a single 4K Reso PNG UV map with a padding of 16, primarily for demo purposes. I am pretty sure it would be a much better idea to stick to a padding of 32. This model UVs are currently non-overlapping. I use Rizom mainly for its straightening algorithm. My recording software lagged while I was unwrapping some elements in 3ds Max, so I've removed that part of the video. It didn't have anything exciting, since everything was split in my previous video. I was just splitting cylinder UV chunks and aligning things horizontally or vertically. My previous video demonstrated a method for separating the model along hard edges. Since the low poly model is already split and assigned to a single smoothing group, UV seams are the only remaining requirement. These seams can be placed in either inconspicuous locations for visual concealment or easily accessible areas for convenient texturing. The choice is yours, but I prefer to stick to the second approach. Smoothing data will be transferred from the high poly model during baking. To facilitate this, the low poly model was split along hard edges, duplicated, and high poly versions were created from the resulting elements. While I chose not to sculpt the high poly model for this project, the workflow is structured to accommodate and facilitate sculpting. At any stage, the high poly model could have been sent to Blender or ZBrush for sculpting. The resulting details would then be baked onto the low poly model currently being unwrapped. After placing all UV seams, I simply relaxed elements and positioned them horizontally or vertically, depending on their location. Eventually, they went to Rizom, where I used its Optimize tool and also its Straighten tool. Most seams are positioned on hard edges. Essentially, a hard edge is where the surface of the model changes direction abruptly, creating a visually distinct line or corner. They contrast with soft edges, where the transition is smooth and gradual, like the curve of the bowl. The hull, among other objects, was split along its central axis of symmetry. An alternative approach to unwrapping would have allowed us to use the existing smoothing groups to split UVs along hard edges. After all UV seams are assigned, I simply relax and normalize UV chunks I get. Straightening some straight or almost straight chunks in 3ds Max is never a great idea unless you have some dedicated plugins. You can always do it in Blender, Maya or Rizom. You can notice here that I've even stretched some chunks too hard. Watch out for some red UVs in Rizom in order to fix your final map. After stretching and positioning some UVs in Rizom, I send my model to max and increase the UV island size for certain details. I prefer to do this after all other adjustments are complete, right before packing UVs. If you want to apply some stickers, paintings or text elements, you'll need to increase the size of the corresponding UV islands. I don't use any of that in the current project. When adjusting UV island sizes, make sure to maintain relative proportions within the same object. It's generally good practice to keep UV size variations within the 20% of neighboring elements. All UV islands belonging to a single element must be scaled proportionally to avoid visible seams. Before you send your model to different software, remember to reset its rotation angles, pivot points, scale, and X-form. What I like about Rizom is the fact that it highlights some flipped UVs and also has a great way of showing some stretched UVs. Finally, I resize some UV chunks I want to resize and repack the model in Rizom. Then I return to 3ds Max and use its X-View tool to scan my model for some flipped or overlapped UV chunks. And that covers everything I wanted to mention. I'll stop narrating at this point. Thanks for watching, guys. If my videos are of use to you, be my guest and subscribe to my channel for more stylized content. And most importantly, have a great day.